There are only two ways to stop Bayern Munich. Number one, pray. I mean it. There's literally no way of stopping Bayern Munich's dominance as the club has made it extremely difficult for anyone to stop them. Who can realistically stop them? Dortmund? Nah, they sell too much of their star players. Leipzig? Nah, they just became the new Dortmund. And unless something drastic happens at Bayern, there is absolutely no way of stopping them. And number two, this is something no Bundesliga fan wants to hear, that is to abolish the 50+1 rule. And we all know that's not happening anytime soon. So this means it's almost impossible to stop Bayern Munich. So how has it come to this? How did they make themselves a team that nobody can stop? This is exactly why they may never be another Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga. Bayern Munich are on their way to winning their 10th consecutive Bundesliga title and their 32nd league title in total. They have dominated the league to the point where it has become really predictable. When you take into account of several situations where European giants such as Manchester United and AC Milan have fallen from grace in recent years after decades of dominance, as a Bundesliga fan who just wants to see his favorite league become even more competitive and not so easily predictable, you can be forgiven for hoping and waiting for the day when Bayern falls off their perch and become as miserable as what AC Milan once were and what Manchester United currently are. Days turn into months, months turn into years, years turn into decades, and still Bayern are at the summit of German football with not a single club in sight who is on their level shoulder to shoulder. Have you ever seen a more indestructible club? Although throughout their ascension to the top of the food chain, there were multiple instances where it appeared as though other clubs finally got the better of them, but it's ultimately Bayern who had the last laugh. Hamburg, Stuttgart, Werder Bremen, Wolfsburg and Dortmund have all had seasons or couple of seasons where they finally toppled the Bavarians, but most have failed to do it on a more consistent basis, leaving Bayern to recuperate and once more do what they always do, and that is to dominate. This level of consistency is scary, and it's even more impressive when you take into account that other German football giants such as Stuttgart, Hamburger, Schalke and so on have massively fallen from the top. But why not Bayern? It all has to do with the amazing work Uli Hoeneß did and the role he played in making Bayern what they are today. He turned the club into a global brand, thereby reaching countries like the US and China at the time where many clubs were not taking that approach. He turned the club into a commercial juggernaut, as the club currently have not less than 30 commercial partners according to the club's website, and did so without compromising its connection with its fan base. Hoeneß, during his time as the club general manager, ensured the club held the fans at great esteem and also did multiple things to ensure they were really close with the players. And it was this fan-player connection that made the club to adopt the policy of only having former players in their boardroom. Bayern have also cleverly remained at the top due to their ruthless approach in signing the best players from their direct title rivals, especially Dortmund, thereby reducing their chances of ever growing strong enough to dethrone them. Everything was going well for clubs Dortmund until Bayern purchased Mario Gotze from them, and after Gotze, players like Hummels and Lewandowski followed. But just acquiring the league's best players in some cases won't still make a club as dominant as Bayern, right? And that's where Bayern's incredible scouting strategy comes in. For a long time now, there have hardly been any transition period for the club, or have there? You see, Bayern have always been in transition, it's just not the type where you completely overhaul the squad. They constantly make smart recruitment to specific positions when the player occupying that position is nearing the twilight stage of his career. They replace Robben and Ribery with Gnabry and Coman or Sané. They replace Lam with Kimmich, and so on. As I discussed in this particular video about the dangers of signing too many big players, Bayern have actually managed to balance their squad in such a way that despite having big players in the squad, it didn't hamper the team's growth in any way. And that's because a lot of their players were not superstars before they were signed by the club, and it's at the club that they became superstars. Why do other teams' players always want to sign for Bayern? Well, the answer is simple. Because they are the best club in the league, and players, German players to be precise, dream of playing for Bayern at a very young age, and knowing that it's the biggest club in their country and a guarantee for winning trophies, players often jump onto such an opportunity without thinking twice. Now, why exactly did 50+1 not play a role in stopping Bayern's dominance? First, we have to understand what the 50+1 rule is. 50 plus 1 is a rule which states that clubs will not be allowed to participate in the Bundesliga if commercial investors hold more than 49% stake. To add a little bit of context to it, it's a rule that ensures the fans have majority of the power and so external investors cannot turn the club into their personal toy and do whatever they please with it. Now, is this a problem for Bayern? Absolutely not. If anything, the 50 plus 1 rule makes them even stronger in the sense that Bundesliga clubs cannot get a Roman Abramovich or a Sheikh Mansour to come and splash insane amounts of money on them and possibly push them to challenge Bayern. But if that's the case, how come Bayern have so much money compared to the rest of the teams in the league? Well, that was a result of being the first team in the league to capitalize on something before anybody else did. Hoeneß, during his tenure as general manager, took the club beyond Germany and increased its global audience. He even tapped into commercial partnership, which not many German clubs were doing at the time, at least not as efficiently. At the time he was globalizing the club, Bayern were doing great on the field and had established itself as a true European force. And fans like teams that are winning, so that's why they were ahead of everybody else. It also helped that the club is based in one of Germany's wealthiest regions, Bavaria, so at the time where ticket sales was a primary source of income, the club took full advantage of this. It's not even how they got the money that's even staggering, it's how they managed to turn the money they had into a fortune that's the impressive part, and is testament to how well the club is run. Don't forget, if it's easy to do what Bayern was and is still doing, then Dortmund wouldn't have almost gotten bankrupt in the early parts of the century. Bayern took full advantage of something no one else was doing at the time to become wealthy, and due to great management, the club has managed to keep going for all these years. And unless something massively goes wrong at the club, I'm afraid there is actually no way to stop Bayern's dominance.